Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. I'm Surbhi and this is Perspective 360 Degree, your one-stop solution for current affairs, descriptive writing and answer writing evaluation. If you are new to this initiative, then let me tell you that on this initiative, we prepare you for descriptive writing portion of your examination, which appears in phase 2. We saw that a lot of students face problem and lack of confidence with regards to descriptive writing. So we have come up with this very unique initiative, which not just teaches you topics from current affairs, which might be seen as descriptive answer writing questions in your exam, but we also it is a very interactive initiative. After watching this video, you can write an answer on your own to the topic that I'm just teaching you and post that answer in the YouTube comment section under this video. In the next 48 hours, our team will evaluate those answers entirely free of cost and will give you their comprehensive evaluation. So you get marks, you get a comprehensive evaluation. So that's how it is. Also, kindly let me know in the chat section, since this is a live session that I'm conducting, if the audio is clear and the video is clear. Good evening, Damodar, Gumti, Sejal. Good evening, all of you. I hope you're happy with the reviews, since I see that all of you have been posting regularly, and that's commendable job because everyday effort is required in descriptive writing. That's what helps you make it to the final list. It's not like that you study one topic today and after that you'll be able to write it in your final exam. It's never going to happen like that. You'll have to practice answer writing for the topic, revise that answer, revise that topic multiple times before taking the exam, before sitting for the exam. Only then you'll be able to ensure that whichever question is asked in the exam, you have written the perfect answer to it. So I really appreciate who are taking it slow and posting answers regularly, watching it regularly. Sejal, you're posting good answers, so don't worry about it. Okay, it's a slow process. It takes time. And just keep evaluating your performance. It's just that you should be improving. That's all. Also, it's 40th video of Perspective 360 Degrees. So we have come a long way. This is the 40th topic that we are covering today. Soon we'll be covering 100 topics. 100 topics would be done. So the topic for today is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. As you can see, it indicates 75 here. Human rights, 75, dignity, freedom and justice for all. So Universal Declaration of Human Rights has completed 75 years of its existence on 10th of December 2023. Yes, it was signed back in 1948, and from 1948 to 2023, it counts to 75 years. So yes, all of you talk about fundamental rights of the nation, that I'm a part of this country, I'm a citizen of this country, and this is right to equality, right to freedom of religion. These are fundamental rights. But what are human rights? We also talk about human rights, and it is going to be very amazing if you can write about human rights or Universal Declaration of Human Rights in your answers. But to be able to write that, or to be able to handle a question which is exclusively asked from this topic, you need to stick with me throughout this discussion. So yes, first of all, let's look at the news. This is from Business Standard. It says 75 years of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. What has it achieved? And then again from Indian Express. Indian Express launched an explained series. An explained article was there 2 days ago. Also, since there were, it was the 75th year. So United Nations Human Rights Office of High Commissioner. There is a separate office of, there is an officer of human rights there in United Nations itself. And United Nations actually, this Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a treaty of United Nations. Not a treaty, it's a declaration. It's a document of United Nations. And this is where it belongs. This is the office where it belongs. So this year they launched a Human Rights 75 initiative. For like 75 days or for all around the year, they posted stories on their website of people who are acing in human rights, or stories associated with human rights. So you can check this website out and gain more knowledge. This is exclusively for you. I understand that you have to learn a lot of facts for your exam, but this is the flowchart of United Nations system. You don't easily get it, or you don't easily understand what is Security Council, what is General Assembly, why there are so many organs of United Nations. So you don't have to entirely learn this, but UN principal organs, they are 6 in number. They can be seen here. It's General Assembly, Security Council, ECOSOC, Secretariat, International Court of Justice and Trusteeship Council, which is mostly a dormant body now. Other offices, they don't have to be learned by heart, but you can refer to specialized agencies, which I've marked here. So just go through them. These specialized agencies are important for the objective part also, and a lot of these, they release reports for which you must be, memorizing ranks and information with regards to India. What I want to refer here is this Office of United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. So as you can see, it falls under United Nations Secretariat. Under the Secretariat, there is an Office of United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, which looks after the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and looks after its implementation. Who implements it, how it is implemented, where it is implemented? These are the questions that we will be tackling. And what are the challenges which are there on the road to implementation of this declaration? All right. So, as you can see, there are some articles in this declaration. It's a very small declaration, just 30 articles are there, unlike any constitution of the world. So this is a very small one. So these are snippets for you. First of all, let's look at relevance of this topic from our exam point of view. Looking at RBI Grade B, there is a topic called growth and development, under which sustainable development is covered, and a lot of human rights. Out of the 30 articles that you have, a lot of human rights talk about sustainable development. In fact, a newly ingrained human right, which was ingrained in 2022, also talked about right to right to a good environment. That is also human rights. So in environmental issues also this can be covered. In international economic issues and social structure in India, this topic can find relevance. Otherwise, in your English writing skills, this can be asked as a separate topic. If they have to ask you like in economic and social issues, then irrespective of the syllabus, they might throw this question at you, because the declaration has completed 75 years and it's very, very big achievement. Again, for NABARD Grade A, there's a topic called human development, where it fits perfectly well. For SEBI Grade A, for English writing skills, this topic might be seen directly because very important in the news. So first of all, let's look at the expected question for today. What does the Universal Declaration of Human Rights entail? That means, what is it about? You have to explain it. And what obstacles and difficulties does it encounter in its implementation? Now, the first part talks about the explanation of the declaration. You should know when it was signed, why it was signed, and as a result of this declaration in existence, what are the changes that have occurred? What are the changes that it has brought? And here we'll be talking about positive changes. And to talk about what are the obstacles and difficulties in implementing it, you should know who is the implementation agency and where is this declaration implemented, how it is implemented. So first of all, sharing with you the answer blueprint. The answer would be divided into 3 parts, that is introduction, main body, and conclusion. Without further ado, let me just tell you what we'll be writing in the introduction. We'll be writing about Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We'll start from history, when it was signed in 1948, why it was signed, what happened in 1948 or before that, so that this declaration was brought in. And every country has a constitution of its own, or some rules or some rights for people. Then what is the purpose of this declaration? Okay, why did UN allow this declaration, or inspire for this declaration? Then we'll explain it a little further, since this question has like half of the weightage. We'll explain a little further on this declaration. Then in the body part 2, we'll talk about the challenges, and in the conclusion, obviously, since we've talked about difficulties and obstacles, in the conclusion we'll talk about a way forward, and we'll also give some quotes. We've got a lot of quotes today regarding this declaration. So some quotes would be given. Okay. So yes. Now moving to the introduction part of it. First of all, look at this snippet. In 1945, something like really big happened in the history of mankind, and that was the end of World War II. Why did World War II end? Because USA, it dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that was the deadliest incident, deadliest crime in the history of mankind that we have ever seen, and hence World War II was stopped. And then there were a lot of lessons also taken from the bloodshed of World War I and World War II, and it was decided that we do not want a World War III. We do not want such mass killing. What happens is, you live in one country, you have chosen your government, or probably there is some government already there if you live in a, if you by chance live in a country that follows monarchy or any other rule, let's say dictatorship, and we're talking about 1945. So the governments fight with each other. The governments want more resources for the people. The governments fight with each other, but who actually fights in the battles? It's the people. So the people don't get to choose what they want. Most of the times they don't get to choose. They just get a direction from the government that this is a war that will be that your country is participating in, and you have to put your all efforts there to win this war. So ultimately it's the people who are dying. So yes, during this after this 1945 it was realized, क्या चीज़ हमें realize हुई, that countries have sovereign rights. आपका इंडिया का अगर मैप है तो इंडिया की बाउंड्री के अंडर, इनसाइड द बाउंड्री ऑफ इंडिया, योर गवर्नमेंट हैज सोवरेन राइट्स, ओके, कि यहाँ पर हमारा ही रूल चलेगा. बट ह्यूमन बींग्स ऑल्सो हैव राइट्स. यू कैन नॉट फोर्स समथिंग ऑन ह्यूमन बींग्स. और उन राइट्स को लिस्ट डाउन करने के लिए, टू नोट डाउन दोज ह्यूमन राइट्स, यूनिवर्सल डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स वॉज क्रिएटेड. सो 1945 से लेकर 1948 तक इट वॉज ड्राफ्टेड, एंड फाइनली ऑन 10th December 1948 इट वॉज साइंड बाय द members of United Nations. उस टाइम पे जितने भी members थे. And the amazing part here was that time colonialism was there in many countries. You know, India also got independence in 1947. So we were still trying to build our constitution, write our constitution. Colonialism was there in many countries, but ये जो declaration थी, even the small countries which were ruled by colonial rulers, they also came together to sign this document and to draft this document. In fact, बहुत सारी women participation भी यहाँ पर देखी गई. Franklin Roosevelt, who was a leader of USA, his wife, his widow was behind the drafting of this declaration. And from India, Srimati Hansa Mehta, who was also running a radio during the Quit India movement. She was not running, she was participating in the Quit India movement. So she was there as a woman representative from India. So बहुत ही beautiful history है इस document से associated. And as you can see that this has been highlighted, that this declaration proclaimed that individuals and not merely sovereign states were bearers of inalienable rights. कि rights सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट्स के नहीं, कंट्रीज के ही नहीं, इंडिविजुअल्स के भी होंगे एज अ मैटर ऑफ देयर बर्थ. सो हाउ अ गवर्नमेंट ट्रीटेड इट्स inhabitants now would be a matter of legitimate international scrutiny. Now so many times you hear that China is oppressing Muslims in their country, or Myanmar is oppressing Rohingyas in their country. Then United Nations intervenes. ये United Nations में बात होती है. किस हक से बात होती है? Why do they have a right? Because all the countries have signed this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. तो जहाँ पर भी human rights की violation होती है, that is not a personal matter of their own country itself because that country is sovereign. No, it is an international matter after 1948, since this declaration is in effect. So I hope there is clarity. There are 30 articles हैं, बहुत ही just read them, give them a reading, and यहीं से आपके जो mostly constitutional rights भी हैं in like many of the countries, they have taken hints from Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In fact, if there is some right which is not mentioned in your constitution but is mentioned in Universal Declaration of Human Rights, तो आने वाले टाइम में उस राइट के चांसेस होते हैं कि वो आपके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का भी पार्ट बन जाए. सो इक्वालिटी, फ्रीडम फ्रॉम डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, लाइफ, लिबर्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी, इधर हम नेशनल नहीं ग्लोबल लेवल पे बात कर रहे हैं, दैट ऑल पीपल, ऑल ह्यूमन बींग्स हैव दीज राइट्स विच आर मेंशन्ड in 30 articles. Freedom from torture, recognition as person before law. So when you download the PDF tomorrow from our Telegram channel, kindly go through these. And as now we'll write the introduction, but again referring to some more information, कि जो declaration थी, it was born of the never again sentiment. What did they say? Never again. Never again the torture, the violence, the deaths, the mass the mass violence that occurred during World War II and even before that. So never again sentiment के basis पर ये declaration बनाई गई थी, and it provided a roadmap to guarantee the rights of every individual. So these are the terms that you can use in your answers. Now writing the introduction, let's start with when it was signed and in the aftermath of World War II that it was signed. So the General Assembly of UN adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the aftermath of World War II on 10 December 1948. तो हमने इतना information दे दिया है regarding the history of when it was adopted. Okay, And now talking about the explanation of this declaration, it says that it reflects an agreement that equality, freedom, and justice are values that a thriving society that drive a thriving society. So equality, freedom और justice तो very much required for a thriving society. और ये तभी ensure की जा सकती है when everyone can access equal opportunities in these domains. कि आपके पास ऐसी opportunities हैं that you can live with equality, live with freedom and live with justice in the society, तभी उसको thriving society माना जाएगा. So इस declaration के under there have been some rights which have been explicitly stated, for example access to education, employment, fair pay, voting rights, health care and more. अगर आप देखेंगे हमारे fundamental rights में भी काफ़ी सारे ऐसे rights आते हैं. For example, right to education is a fundamental right and right to work has been included in as a part of MG Narega. Fair pay, voting rights, health care and more. The value of free speech जो आपका article 19 है. Privacy आपका article like article 21 के under covered है, and mutual respect irrespective of gender, race, ethnicity or religion, they are evinced by the declaration. So it is the higher document above like all the documents which have been created for rights as such. So the declaration is basically a life guide encompassing 30 articles. ये आपने mention करना that there are 30 articles and they laid the foundation stones of international order after the World War II. So also there will be a lot of code words that we'll be using. बहुत सारी terms हम use करेंगे, that it is a common standard of achievement for all people and all nations, irrespective of if somebody is born in North Korea or if somebody is born in United States of America. Human rights जो इस declaration में mentioned है, they apply to everyone. So I hope you have some clarity regarding Universal Declaration of Human Rights till here. Now we'll move on to the let's delve deeper section and we'll explain this a little further. Explanation में हम क्या करेंगे? We will talk about the significance. Significance has not been explicitly asked, but we will mention the role that Universal Declaration of Human Rights has played in the history of mankind. So before that, if you have any doubts, kindly let me know in the chat section. Hello Rohit, thank you Veenu ma'am. Gomati, I'm conversing in English only, even if I mention something in Hindi, that is being repeated in English. So don't worry about missing out. Alright. So any doubts, kindly let me know. So Sejal has no doubts. Gomati, I think there is clarity around it. Alright. So now talking about explanation, the first thing you need to remember is that this declaration is non-binding in nature. अब आपके binding nature के कौन से declarations या treaties हैं, you must have prepared them as part of your current affairs. काफ़ी environment based treaties हैं which are binding in nature. But this Universal Declaration of Human Rights is non-binding in nature. If it is non-binding, that means even if the human rights are being abrogated, penalty cannot be put on the country. Yeah, the country cannot be put into legal battles. Yeah, legally आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते against a country even if there is infringement of human rights. What can be done is diplomatic pressure. Diplomatic pressure हो सकता है, since this is a part of United Nations treaty system, it's UN declaration. So when that country sits in General Assembly debates में बैठते हैं वो, then pressure can be created on that country. For example, if I talk about Myanmar, in Myanmar, ethnic cleansing of Rohingya Muslims has been occurring for the past many years. So whenever Myanmar sits in General Assembly discussions, it is all the time bashed for all the human rights violation. Why is it bashed? And similarly for Russia also, when Russia invaded Ukraine, why were there sanctions on Russia? Yeah, why was it not treated, why was it not taken respectfully in the United Nations General Assembly? Because of this reason, because of this declaration in place, because this sets a goal for mankind. What is the life that every individual deserves if she is born on this planet Earth? So non-binding nature hai, first of all, that is also a loophole for it. Then there is inspiration for movements that Universal Declaration of Human Rights has provided. Which movements? Equal voting rights for women, LGBTQ plus rights, or rights for equal pay for equal work. Where are all these coming from? सब कुछ सारे constitutions में mention नहीं होता. Everything is not mentioned in constitution, but your these 30 articles of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, they mention most of the human rights, and they are updated also with time. As in 2022 May, the right to environment that was added, and it provides a universal standard. For example, if a country is trying to look or trying to set up a goal for itself through a constitution, or is trying to update its constitution for the welfare of people, then it sets a universal standard or a document that these countries can look back upon. So first of all, talking about non-binding nature, while not a treaty or legally binding, its principles have influenced national laws and international human rights treaties. It has been seen that more than 70 human rights treaties at global and regional levels have been inspired by this declaration. Then what are the movements that have been inspired by this Declaration for Human Rights? I told you it was signed in 1948, and during those times many countries were under colonization. They were colonized, though they did not have their governments of their own, or there was no freedom for people. So decolonization movement, anti-apartheid movement, it has inspired freedom fighters all around the world, because it gave a direct message to people all around the world, no matter in what situation they were, that everybody has right to equality, everybody has right to seek justice, everybody has the right to live in freedom. So be it on gender issues, LGBTQI plus issues, and against racism. So it has acted as an inspiration. Thirdly, it has proven as a universal standard for upcoming constitutions and for the countries who want to set up their goals. So it remains a universal human rights standards, influencing various subsequent human rights agreements as well. So now moving on to body part 2 and talking about the challenges in its implementation. Now, if I talk about what are the challenges for Universal Declaration of Human Rights, what does it entail? Now, there can be hundreds of challenges. You can have challenges based on the gender discrimination, challenges based on environmental factors, challenges based on governmental factors, that the countries themselves are not implementing human rights, or not giving effect to human rights. There is hindrance of free speech, or paid media is there, or suppression of free press is there. There is no exhaustive list of challenges, but here I would like you to come back to the 400 words limit and the 10 marks that you're going to get out of this. So my suggestion here would be that divide your challenges in under like 5-6 headings, maximum 7 headings, and then give explanation to whatever you can relate with. And here I also told you that non-binding nature of this treaty, it's not a treaty, of this declaration, so that will also be talked about as a challenge, because had it been binding, then there would have been more legal effect to it. So first of all, talking about geopolitical conflicts. Whenever geopolitical conflicts occur, geopolitical are based on geography and polity. For example, the Russia-Ukraine war, the Israel-Palestine conflict, because they want some area of geography, they want some land, and as a result of that geographical dispute, a political dispute occurs, and that converts into a mass human rights violation act. So then there are some examples. Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is there. It has erupted into a full-scale military clashes twice this year. This is the news from 4 days ago. Then after Ukraine, it's Gaza. This is the news from Business Standard from 1 month ago. So Ukraine, Gaza, Nagorno-Karabakh. So geopolitical conflicts, they actually cause a big challenge to the implementation of this declaration, because then the governments don't listen. There is violence occurring on a very large scale. There is a mass on a mass level, human rights are violated. So the recent geopolitical conflicts like Israel-Hamas war, Russia's war in Ukraine, internal conflicts in Myanmar and Sudan, they have emerged as a major challenge to Universal Declaration of Human Rights. See, now this heading is self-explanable, so you don't have to, it's self-explanatory, so you don't have to explain what are geopolitical conflicts. If you give just these examples, it will be very much, you'll be doing justice to this subheading. Then misuse and abuse of this declaration itself. For example, if let's say you make it clear to United Nations that there is a certain group of people who is actually causing violation of human rights of another group of people which are in a minority. Then what you can do, you can attack this group of people who's causing a violation of human rights for the other group. So many a times this loophole has been used to violate human rights of minorities. So for example, Rwandan genocide, which was instigated by military coup in Rwanda under the garb of protection of human rights. So it has been misused and exploited for political gain. As of now also, during this Israel-Palestine conflict, Israel has been, in a way, they have been saying that there are human rights violations happening in Gaza, and that is what we are trying to provide reparations for. But what is happening on ground, that is still very, very questionable. Then there is abuse of human rights of women and children. You can add it here as well. Why do we talk about women and children separately? Because women, they're biologically very, very different, and also children, and both of them, most of the times, they're not in a state to fight back. So gender-based violence, including domestic violence, sexual harassment, human trafficking, it is a significant human rights challenge affecting women and girls globally. So whenever you're talking about such challenges, I understand that men and women both are impacted to a great extent by human rights violation, but it will be a good idea to have a separate point for at least women, if not separately for women and children. Then there is abuse of right to live with dignity. For example, untouchability is still prevalent. Manual scavenging is still prevalent. So rag picking is still prevalent. So talk about these things. Then there is corruption in governance, which is the root cause of human rights violation. For example, there was this news that don't let leaders use the coronavirus as an excuse to violate civil liberties. It was seen that during the COVID-19 pandemic, since people had to be put in lockdowns, so crackdown on press, on media, on free speech was occurring. Many governments used the pandemic to their benefit. So a world engulfed in corruption and cronyism, human rights in North Korea, there are most of the times governments which are heading the states, heading the countries, they are using corrupt methods to cause human rights violations. Corruption threatens rule of law, democracy and human rights, and undermines good governance. For example, misuse of anti-terror laws to brand a certain group of people as terrorists and to conduct counter-terrorism objectives. They have implemented measures that infringe on civil liberties. For example, cutting down on internet, or blocking a particular area from the outside world, that nobody can go there, nobody can come out of there, leading to concerns about due process, surveillance and the treatment of suspects. And then there is non-enforceable nature of declaration. I think this is the easiest because this is a non-binding document. It renders it ineffective in checking human rights violation. Now moving on to the conclusion, we'll give a very, very brief way forward what can be done in this regard, and we will also give some quotes, or the way forward will be coming from the Secretary of United Nations or from the officer who is in charge in United Nations for human rights. So there is a lot of highlighted information. First of all, let's look at a way forward. There should be alignment of territorial laws with United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. If you look at your fundamental rights in the Constitution, yes, they are in alignment with the UDHR. And whichever laws, for example, whichever laws were very strict or they were very inhumane, they have been brought down or they have been quashed by the judiciary of our country. Then there should be active role of United Nations Security Council. Now look at this, Russia-Ukraine war occurred, and this Israel-Palestine conflict is occurring, and we have a global body called United Nations, and at the center of United Nations, we have the United Nations Security Council, which can give you binding instructions. It can give binding decisions to the countries, and it can also instruct a country to stop a war or to stop ethnic cleansing of the minorities in its nation. But UNSC, the Security Council, has not acted as vigorously as it should have because of political factors, because of other factors which we are still trying to figure out. So there has to be active role here. Then there is enforcement of domestic human rights law. There should be human rights law in all the countries. If you know, in India also we have National Human Rights Commission and State Human Rights Commission in commissions in like all of the states. So India is definitely having separate bodies and laws for implementation of human rights. Then ethical importance of of human rights that needs to be focused upon, because they are inalienable to human existence. This has to be understood by all of us. Abuse of human rights is an abuse to humanity. This has to be taught, this has to be understood by governments, and it has to be the guiding light for ethical governance. Now, there is one line which has come from the article that I shared in one of the snippets there, that human rights, they have been realized by many. Yes, this right to equality is a human right, but they're outside the reach of many people. So if I talk about human rights chief as of now, Volker Turk, he said that the world the world is at a somber moment in history, because you see so many wars happening around you, even during the time when we are conducting this session. So there are conflicts and crises, but he instead insisted that human rights have not failed. Compare the today's situation with the situation that we had during World War II or after that, then many countries which could have actually died because of human rights violations, they have actually created their constitutions and are living peacefully. But yes, there are problems which we need to deal with. So human rights, they are inherent to every human being, and leaders who ignore this truth imperil the people they are meant to serve. So these are some quotes that you can put in your answer. Don't write all the quotes that are mentioned here. There is this quote by Amnesty International also, that this declaration, 75 years of this declaration, it is a living proof that a global vision for human rights is possible, doable, and it can be realized. So again, this can be used in your conclusion. And talk about this quote of John F. Kennedy. Whatever quote fits you, kindly, at the end of way forward, use that. Don't use all the quotes in your answer. More than 2 quotes in an answer should be avoided, unless it is not an essay. All right, so that's your answer for the day. I'm displaying the question again. Kindly post your answers in the YouTube comment section under this video in the next 48 hours. So it's Wednesday today. By Friday, 5 p.m., whatever answers we get in our comment section, they will be evaluated, and there is no cost. There is free evaluation that we are providing. And day 40th of Perspective 360 degree. So congratulations to all of you. Also, if you are somebody who's new here, kindly go back to the previous videos, watch them. I understand that you won't get free evaluation, but at least download the PDFs and watch the videos, so that in case you see that question in your final exam, you are very much prepared to answer that question. Also, don't forget to read the answers of your fellow aspirants who are writing. And we do provide with the model answer to every question that is being discussed here, but that facility is only available for paid students, because they need to be given some amount of benefit as compared to others. So kindly, for some time we're not coming up with provision of EduTap's answer, but here you have like most of the content that is important for covering any topic is provided free of cost, so don't worry about missing out on anything. And if you have any other doubts regarding answer writing, you can contact us at this email ID and book a strategy call. For if you want to talk about any other courses, kindly contact us at this number. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and do let me know how is this initiative helping you so far in the YouTube comment section. If you have any doubts, kindly let me know in the chat section. I'm open to taking doubts now. Akash, they are being uploaded in your course itself. Kindly contact the administration to know the chapter numbers where they are uploaded. See, Bhavna, word count. What you can do is, since you're typing the answer, just copy the answer. On Google, just go for word counter. Paste your answer in the word counter. It will tell you how many words you have typed. Also, in Microsoft Word, if you type your answer on the left side, in the bottom corner of the Microsoft Word, it will tell you whatever words are there on the sheet at that moment. And in your final exam, a word counter will be there. All right. Thank you, all of you. I hope your doubts are resolved, and I'll see you on Friday at 5 p.m. Make sure that you post your answers at the earliest for a very good evaluation. Take care, keep working hard, and all the very best.